This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Thanks for joining us here on Joy News Prime. In our headlines tonight, how do these children call you, father or grandfather? Jasikan District Court sentences 64-year-old farmer who has had 2 children with his own daughter.
One of the nights, he forced and had sex with me. After I gave birth, our landlord asked of the father of the child, and my dad became aggressive and violent.
Motorists who use Spintex Road call for speedy works on flyover which connects East Legon to Burma Camp. Details as engineers return to the site after 2 years delay due to payment challenges.
I had the Spintex traffic in I have
to use my pass so many corners just to dodge traffic. And if something happened to it, it will go against me.
Also tonight, we explore the President's rejection of recommendations by the National Vetting Committee on the nomination of MMDCEs, which has sparked violence in parts of the country.
MPP has been able to identify her as such and leaving people who have suffered for the party so many years. I want to say that I wouldn't want to comment so much. I leave everything to God.
In business, combating cybercrime, government gets ready to launch the National Critical Information Infrastructure Directive next month.
We'll do the designation this week, and then the whole program will be launched during the Cybersecurity Month celebrations next month, and then we'll start working with the sectors to bring up their systems to acceptable international levels. So we're giving effect to the Cybersecurity Act, which was passed in December last year.
Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios here at Fakokom, namely Accra. We're your digital TV because we are free to air. DSTV channel 421 and GoTV 144. My name is Ernest Minu. Stay tuned in for details. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. Now, motorists who use the Spintex Road are calling for speedy works on the flyover, which is expected to connect the parts of East Legon to Burma Camp. Work on the 70 million cedi project is stalled since 2019 due to delays in payment of contractors. Users of the section of the road spend hours in traffic just to connect to the motorway. As engineers divert parts of the road to resume work following an agreement with the Roads Ministry, motorists there want a speedy completion to allow smooth traffic flow in the area. Manuel Cranton was at the project site and now reports.
It choked, and all the time, Charlie, it's very stressful here. Driving from, sometimes the traffic is from here till the runabout.
We are suffering, I'm telling you. Now, right now, as I'm speaking, they want me going to deliver a goods, but because of traffic, you have to pass different...
Some motorists who use the flower pot roundabout off the Spintex Road, speaking of the traffic situation on the road. The flyover project, which was to connect parts of East Legon area to Spintex Road, had delayed for over 2 years since salt was cut in 2017 due to payment challenges worsening the traffic flow at the roundabout.
The main problem is, you see, we go into the underbridge there. From the Burma Camp there, you can't turn, there's no way. So you are forced to be in, and it's so frustrating.
Papa had the Spintex traffic in I
Now I stay here to get into 8 years to 9 years. It's very congested. It's very bad. Very bad. Yes, I have to use my pass so many corners just to dodge traffic. And if something happened to it will go against me.
But after discussions with government, the contractors from China Railway Engineering No. 5 are back on site. Arnold Edu is resident engineer at the project site.
Work went on 2017-2018, and due to some outstanding certificates, work was suspended for a while. So last year 2020, the last quarter of 2020, work resumed. So we've worked from, the project is a flyover from the flower pot area all the way over the motorway into East Legon. So last year work started on that beyond the motorway, the boundary road, towards the East Legon police station. Some work has gone on, and we are continuing what is left for this portion toward the flower pot area. All those coming from Bema Camp to East Legon, most of them have to go and pass through the tunnel. So when it's completed, this flyover will carry traffic from all that place, from Bema Camp, across the motorway into East Legon. And also, if you are in East Legon, you'll be able to come to this part of town over the flyover.
Due to the ongoing works, the engineers have had to redirect the lane to Tema motorway, slightly obstructing the flow of traffic.
Part of our foundation is in the road, so we need that space to work. That is why we are closing up portions of the road and putting in some other traffic management plans so that we can do our work. And initially there were some recalcitrant drivers, but once we put in our measures in place, people have come to understand.
For a lot of the motorists who depend on the road to connect to other parts of the city, the completion of the project, initially valued at 70 million Ghana cedis, will significantly help in decongesting traffic.
It's going to help, because you see, because the separation is going to be normal. You see, people going, we can have those going to Tema. For instance, I'm going to Tema. There should be a way where you can drive that side and then you just go, and then it won't be all of us going in the same channel.
We are praying that they should hurry up and finish the work, so that at least the traffic will reduce.
For 1 month, they've been hard. I'm going to speed up Accra,
sometimes a traffic jam. So if there's a lot of branches, we can even use it easy. So it's good.
At least for the next 1 month, the traffic situation here at the Spintex Flower Pot Junction roundabout is going to remain like this, as engineers from the China Railway Engineering Company work to plant piers, which will now be the shoulders upon which the flyover from East Legon all the way through the Spintex area will rest. From here at the Flower Pot roundabout, my name is Manuel Cranting, reporting for Joy News.
Let me now take you to the Savannah region, and 7 students, all boys from the Sawla Senior High School in the Sawla Tuna Kalba district of the region, have been arrested and detained at the Sawla police station by armed police personnel. Sources on campus say the students, who are yet to be told the offense, were marched into a police vehicle at the school right after the second mathematics paper today and driven straight to the Sawla police station, where they have been detained. Their colleagues took to the streets of Sawla to protest. But Joy News' check on campus linked their arrest to some alleged practices of occultism on campus. The name of the group is given as Money Rulers and Beyond Control. For more on this, let's return to the Savannah region and speak to correspondent Isaac Nyonya about the arrest of the 7 students of the Sawla Senior High School in the Sawla Tunakalba district of the region. Isaac, your sources are telling you that the students may have been picked up because of the activities related to occultism on campus. What more are you learning?
That is true. It's true. The other information we're also picking is that earlier on in the day, the armed police officers who came to supervise the writing of the exam, the students were not happy about that. They protested by telling the headmistress that this is just an exam and we don't need police officers to the extent that they are armed. That was in the morning. But the second paper in the afternoon, somewhere 2:15, they went in, but we don't know what happened, and the police came around with the vehicle and waited. The other information we are picking is that after the 2 groups that they have been named and the committee set up to look into the activities of alleged.
We seem to have lost correspondent Isaac Nyonya there on Zoom. Would correct that feed and bring you more details. He's been telling us about the activities of the 7 boys
on campus who were claimed to be part of them, took onto the street of Sawla, and we are told as we speak with the Paramount Chief of Sawla trying to get him to bail the other 7 students who are currently in detention. Let's add that all the 7 are males, they are boys who are in detention. We're also told that school management are aware.
Essentially, the students are still in the custody of the police and school authorities, and as well as authorities in the area trying to secure bail for them. We'll be following up on this and bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Now, away from that, he was charged with rape, incest, and the threat of death. He had sex with his own daughter and produced 2 children, a boy and a girl. So how do you call these children? How did the children actually call you? Father or grandfather? That was the question to the 64-year-old father, Gideon Hamino. The Jasikan District Circuit Court in the Oti region sentenced him to 10 years in prison with hard labor for incest and rape and the threat of death. The 30-year-old victim says she is relieved after opening up on the matter. She has been speaking to correspondent Peter Sinu.
Gideon Hamenu is a 64-year-old farmer at Bori Cherahini in the Jasikan Police District. According to the facts before the court, Gideon first forcibly had sex with her daughter and got her pregnant in 2018. Others followed. He also threatened her with death if she ever told anyone about the ungodly act. It is his 3rd attempt still to force her daughter for sex, which she refused, that got Gideon in troubled waters. He then started assaulting her and making other unfounded allegations against her. We are told Gideon had an unstable marriage with the victim's mother, so asked her to come and stay with him. The now 30-year-old daughter has been speaking to Joy News. We lived and worked on a man's farm, and in the night my dad would force my door open. He did that several nights, but when I complained, he does not say anything. One of the nights, he forced and had sex with me. After I gave birth, our landlord asked of the father of the child, and my dad became aggressive and violent. He made us relocate to Jasikan. The same thing happened at Jasikan, and we relocated to Bori Cherahini. Anytime he does that, he made us relocate because of embarrassment. He wanted to do same at Buri, and I resisted. I confided in one elderly man, and my father got offended and started assaulting me. He even slapped me one down because I had asked him to intervene. He threatened to kill him or me. It was at this time the police had to come in. I am now relieved after I opened up. I am now a free person. The Jasikan Circuit Court also asked the police to hand over the victim to the social welfare unit in the district and also use the proceeds from his cocoa farm for the upkeep of the victim and the children. Emilia Gbedua is the district director for social welfare in the Jasikan district. She has been telling Joy News how they intend to let the victim settle in.
I can say for every year we've been having those cases. In fact, this year, this is the second one we are experiencing. So I think we need to do more sensitization and then let people come out, because we know if some of them do happen, but then they don't talk about it because of the stigma attached to it. So we have to encourage them to come out anytime these cases happen or anytime anyone experiences this. Her community where the incident happened, she's been asked to leave. So we, together with the relevant stakeholders, the police, assemblymen, and other few people, will go to the community, see the chiefs and elders, and sit with them, explain things to them. And then they will have to give her some time to live, since she says she has a farm and other things there. So she will need to take care of those things first. Then we'll have to meet with her one-on-one, give her counseling. She's going through a lot of psychological trauma now. She needs to be talked to. She needs someone to confide in. So we'll be there for her all the way and see her through. Then we'll have to know what her plans are. If she will want to relocate, where she will be, what work she will be doing, so that she can take care of the herself and the children, especially the children. They are our prime aim right now. So we'll be with her through and see how we can help her take care of the children and herself.
Peter Senu for Joy News.
Away from that, Minister for Local Government and Rural Development Dan Butchie says the people of Sawla will get a district and a chief executive within 1 month. The Sawla area district is called the Guan district. According to the minister, the district has been created in law, and what is left is for the president to inaugurate it to bring it into effect. As of now, not only do the people of Sawla not have a district, they are currently not represented in parliament. But speaking on our sister station, Asempa FM, Ekosi Sen, Dan Butchie assured the residents the issue will be addressed.
Fortunately for us, na a Kajuma na first, regional reorganizations near no more, and so also be because of the peculiar nature of Omo area, and they acquire file, so and Mamma Bay 1 unit. Omo catcher and penny. Nanado dan Kufado, then they say, Omobepe said that should be on district. It was led by Nananum and a very high statesman that Obeda Samwa say Omopesa. And German Penny, a Shobo Sampa, processing area of a Momo district.
First, we have to condemn all those behind such violence and disturbances. It's clearly illegal, and the police should crack the whip on those involved. Who do such people think they are? The party doesn't endorse their actions at all. That's not how we in the MPP behave.
All the traditional chiefs, almost 4 key traditional areas, Santugofi, Apafu, Lipe, and Alulubi. Yes. Tienina Ikushia, Ewelipe. Emrana, or Mepedia to the creative district, Lipe Mate, and a district capital. Okay. And then pay for Kasa say I do the inauguration. So say assembly danya omumia baako omobabaako so ni dan wasi anko de be ni fie no or the amase ni fanya assembly nti nyina ekɔ ho nyina. After that there will be other offices, other departments. Yes. And the concept of during the regional creation, I can say many of the departments may not necessarily center the regional capital. But maybe some jitim so it be a Department of Education, directly beko it be a example. It be an agrek bekoha, it be an health so bekoha say in omina so interesting nomina press how to host the way no be actually infrastructure omo and we are medical offer on buildings, say, Mopa officer, Mumfa, Webertown, and you buy a queer summit in the year. I mean, I'm a Coyano. Yes, I didn't pay free Nana to our office because I don't be push workers.
We must establish, though, that these cases have been isolated. If 40 or so people mass up, it doesn't mean they are representing the whole district. And all the people behind such violence must be found out and dealt with.
Well, he's also condemned the pocket of violence that erupted in parts of the country following the MMDCE's nomination. Dan Butchie said the party and government will look into the issue and those found culpable will be dealt with according to law.
TV so nipa be 40-50 no they don't represent the voice of the people there. They don't. It as much as possible you who say man and yes condemn but stay amama yenso you may enkasa almost say omumpe here for say about this is how many 100,000 it be 200,000 it be 500,000 it be 80,000 it be 20,000 so what they say in kwarani penfo nyina ka ho a it be ewanimu it is a 40-50 people ko tire na ka say enunti no aso say nyina je omo nyina permission say mo ko tire ma yen and therefore yes omo so omumpe here for so omumpe. At times we should be very worried.
First, we have to condemn all those behind such violence and disturbances. It's clearly illegal, and the police should crack the whip on those involved. Who do such people think they are? The party doesn't endorse their actions at all. That's not how we in the MPP behave.
Is there a team, let's say, ABR, or Ombe to deal with district issues be say
about the 3 or 4 or 5 districts obedience 2 things. It could be one person's agenda.
Okay.
Because you see, it's an open secret. So you are alluding to it. Say it's an open secret. Yeah, the ADC say there was some interaction at the regional level. Because people show interest. I keep asking people, say, Obi will say, you place advert, say, advert, all those who are interested in this year, advert. Minister of Local Government, we never did that. And I've never read in this anywhere. Yeah. But any day I go for him, say, man, air query, and or more express some interest. But are you aware, in one constituency, there were 23 people.
Expressing interest.
Exactly, one district. Others 19. 18, 16, 15, baby.
We must establish, though, that these cases have been isolated. If 40 or so people mass up, it doesn't mean they are representing the whole district. And all the people behind such violence must be found out and dealt with.
Now, the National Vetting Committee, headed by the local government minister, Dan Botwe, after its work, made recommendation of persons to be retained as either MCE or kicked out for various reasons. But the president, upon receipt of the report, sidestepped some of the recommendations and nominated persons who were not recommended by the committee. We'll hear shortly from some of them, but first my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins me in the studio with details of the breakdown of the president's departure from the committee's report. Kwesi, who are some of the committee members, and walk us through the selection process?
So, Ernest, there was something like a two-tier committee where the regional executives of the party had to receive application form almost about close to 2,000 individuals who had applied for the job for being either DCE or an MCE. So if you go to the region, for example, the committee was headed by the regional minister, because the regional minister is representing the president at the regional level. And then they had a rep from the National Executive Committee. Then the president also appointed another individual to be part of that committee. Then the chairman of the region was also part of the committee. So they were the ones who handled the regional level application. So after their work, they put together their report and now submitted the report to the National Vetting Committee. Now, the National Vetting Committee was headed by the local government minister himself, that is Dan Botwe. So he was the head of the National Vetting Committee, and also the General Secretary of the party, John Bodu, part of the committee. Then the Majority Caucus, the leader of the Majority Caucus, that is
was also part of the committee. Let's go straight into the list. Let's start with the Greater Accra region. What are some of the issues that came up vis-a-vis the final list that we're seeing today?
And as you reported yesterday about the disturbances in Odododio.
Exactly.
And then basically the people were saying that the president had kicked out the former AMA board.
At the time they had hints.
At the time they had hints. Yeah. Good. And that was premised on the report put together by the committee. The committee in the report to the president recommended Mr. Mohamed Niaje to be retained as MCE. However, yesterday when we received the list, it was Elizabeth Teriasaki who had been nominated. In fact, the committee recommended that Niaje should be retained because he has been an advocate for president goals and agenda to do with the sanitation in Greater Accra. You know, the president has been talking about Accra being the cleanest city and all of that.
By the end of his term.
Exactly. And then Niaje has also been championing that. We have a partnership, even with the
Clean Ghana campaign.
Yeah. Exactly. So these were the reasons the committee said that. Based on ABC, we think that this man should be retained. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. Now, interestingly, if you go to the Gan West Municipal Assembly, the committee recommended Mr. Michael Niboy Ejay as the nominee for the MCE position.
But it appears that Clement Wilkinson was maintained.
Exactly, he was maintained. And interestingly, his name wasn't part of the list put together by the committee. In fact, they had three individuals, Michael Ejay, Andy Mensah, and then Samuel Ajete. Clement Wilkinson's name wasn't part of the committee's report. Interestingly, the president nominated him as the candidate for
So these are
that
classical
area.
examples for the Greater Accra region. Let's go to the Northeast region, because we know that in Tripoli there were disturbances as well. They had hint again that the one Zuewa was going to be nominated to fill the position. The affairs were indeed confirmed. What are the issues there?
So the committee recommended Mr. Kofi Salifu Orlando. In fact, he is actually the outgone DC for the area.
Okay.
So the committee said that based on his work, he was very instrumental in the 2020 general elections. He worked very closely with the NP and the party executives for the success of the party. So based on this reason, they are recommending to the president for consideration to retain the DC. Unfortunately, Madam Zureratu Nasiru was rather nominated by the president. And if you listen to the party supporters, they claim that it is because of her, it was not her, there was another Mahama lady who they claimed that it was because she's a sibling to the former local government minister, Haja Ali Mahama. Exactly. So that was for Chiponi. And in fact, the Chiponi, 6 assemblies, 2 of them, the president rejected.
And
the Eastman Pussy 2 as well.
Okay.
The president
and whilst we are Chiponi, what has Zurewatu Nasiru been saying about this development?
Well, she is excited about her nomination. However, not happy with the issues that have come up. In fact, she tells me that she's working closely with the party executives to fish out the individuals who are agitating against her nomination so that at the end of the day, they can work together as a party. Because at the end of the day, they are championing the president's agenda at the assembly level. So it'll be important to bring every individual on board to ensure that the work is achieved.
And is it clear, is it clear she has the support of the contender, the former DCE?
So Orlando tells me that he condemned the violent protest and pledged his support for the new nominee and says, in spite of the president's decision to sidestep the recommendation by the committee, he would throw his weight behind the new nominee.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, bringing us details of the work that was done by the vetting committee vis-a-vis the final list and the reactions that have come up on that. Now, moving on, the Coalition of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executive Aspirants has called for calm and restraint among party faithful over the nomination of local assembly heads. The group says the interest of Ghana must be put above all individual and group interests, especially at the time the appointments have been delayed unduly. At a press briefing in Kumasi, the group also appealed to assembly members to fast-track the approval of the president's nominees to promote local development. Oyemi Interior has more in the following report.
This is live. Pockets of violence have characterized the announcement of the president's nominees for metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives in some parts of the country. The failed aspirants, including some incumbents who lost in their renomination bid, want the violence to stop. They say such developments tend to make the new patriotic party and President Akufo-Addo unpopular.
We have a goal to achieve.
Whilst appealing for calm, the coalition of MMDCE aspirants, Commerce, wants national interest put above all individual and group interests. The group is also promising support for successful nominees. Obrempong Frimpong Emmanuel is the national president.
The Local Government Act 2016, Act 936, Section 20, Subsection 1 mandates the sitting president to appoint a district chief executive who will be approved by 2/3 majority of the members of the district assembly present and voting. In fulfillment of this constitutional provision, His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, has appointed MMDCEs to various assemblies all over the 16 regions of Ghana. Many party faithfuls also showed interest and sought to be appointed by the president as MMDCEs. All over the country, we have party people like chairman, secretary, organizers, and other key party personalities who were interested to catch the president's eye. However, it is quite obvious that the president can only appoint one person for this position. We are therefore calling on all our brothers and sisters all over the 16 regions of Ghana to exercise restraint and respect the appointments made by the president and accept it in good faith.
Meanwhile, Members of the group want assembly members to speedily approve the president's nominees. They say any further delay could affect the development at the local level.
We are also appealing to our honorable members of the various assemblies to put the interests of Ghana at first and endorse the president's appointees to avoid any unnecessary delay in the local government administration. Appointees are also advised to be humble and work very assiduously to complement the president's faith reposed in them. The good people of Ghana believe we are the very party that can take a dear nation to the land of promise. 8-year rule of former President Kufuor and the first-term achievement of his Nana Addo Dankwa is a solid proof to this fact. Therefore, the mantra breaking the 8 couldn't have come at a better time than this. It will take hard work, unity, and sacrifice to achieve.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oimi Teria reporting.
This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. Still to come in business, combating cybercrime. Government gets ready to launch the National Critical Information Infrastructure Directorate next month.
We'll do the designation this week, and then the whole program will be launched during the Cybersecurity Month celebrations next month, and then we'll start working with the sectors.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, government will launch the National Critical Information Infrastructure Directive next month, a move that will aid the fight against cybercrime. According to the Communications and Digitalization Minister, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, preparations are almost complete to ensure resilience against cyber attacks. She was speaking at the opening ceremony of the one-week residential training on artificial intelligence with the Career Guidance for Girls in ICT Tertiary Schools edition, supported by WASSCE Ghana.
The Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has disclosed that the Critical Information Infrastructure Act will be effected next month. Speaking on the sidelines of the residential training on artificial intelligence with career guidance for girls in tertiary schools, the minister, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, stated that the act will be launched as part of cybersecurity celebrations in October.
We've identified over 150 sectors, companies, that are critical to the survival of our country, and which, if attacked, if they suffer a cyber attack, will cripple our country's socioeconomic development. And so once designated, the Cybersecurity Center will work with you, and if they prescribe measures and you do not abide by them, they are empowered to issue administrative penalties to ensure our collective security. So that's what we'll do, the designation this week, and then the whole program will be launched during the Cybersecurity Month celebrations next month, and then we'll start working with the sectors to bring up their systems to acceptable international levels. So we're giving effect to the Cybersecurity Act, which was passed in December last year.
As part of actualizing the Women for Tech initiative, WASSCE Technologies, in collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, has organized a week's residential training on artificial intelligence with career guidance for girls in tertiary schools at the Kofi Annan Center for ICT. Here is Director of Public Relations at WASSCE, Jenny Zhou.
For this year, we noticed that for Ministry of Communications, they also put a lot of effort on girls in ICT. So we also noticed that girls can play a very important role in the ICT domain. So that's why we are here. We want to partner with MOCD, Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, on the trainings of the girls in Ghanaians. So we all know that in this digitalization of Ghana, so the girls in Ghana, they must be equipped with with themselves with the ICT, so which can also very key driver to the digitalization of Ghana. So that's why we sponsorship a lot of events or training or mentorship or career guidance. So we wish that, you know, all of the girls in Ghana, they can get a very world standard certifications, and then can make them to not only work in Ghana, but also to work in some more international companies.
Now, Chief Executive of Premium Africa Holdings, Farouk Kailan, has urged entrepreneurs to make their products valuable to attract finance so they can not go searching for donors. According to him, investors are more concerned about getting value that can help them propel their ventures. He spoke at the first Joy Business Campus Roadshow at the Valley View University.
Speaking at the maiden edition of the Joy Business Campus Roadshow, Mr. Kailan encouraged the students not to give up even when there are no funds, but to become valuable as they will attract funds.
But money will chase you when there's value. When I see value in you, now even some of the financial institutions, I have friends who are working with banks, but on the side, they are looking for people who are hungry, who are doing things to also invest in them. You understand? So finance shouldn't stop you. You have to keep pushing, pushing, pushing. You don't get finance, you attract finance. Now startups, especially those in the fintech space, you hear a company has been bought for 200 million. They use the immediate resources available to them, the little internet data they had, to propel themselves.
Meanwhile, founder of Hack Lab Foundation, Foster Akogri, suggested that it is important to work in a group. According to him, it is okay to involve others who understand one's goals and leverage their prominence to succeed.
Put in all the efforts to be seen. And so you create a nice poster with a nice caption about your business and post it on the right channels to draw attention to you. When you're attracting people to you, you need a medium to be able to do that. You need to rely on external platforms to create what we call inbound traffic. Creating inbound traffic means, first, when you start a business, nobody knows you. So do you have a friend who has 1,000 followers, who has 500 followers, and are willing to post on their page or whatever it is to vouch for you, to say, oh, my friend is starting a business, support by following the page? That is awareness creation. That is where the buyer's journey starts.
Head of Joy Business, Odilia Ntiamwa, believes in strategically maintaining relationships to be successful. According to her, keeping good relationships influences one's success.
Connections. You have to value your connections. People that come to your life that are in position, you have to keep those relationships and value them. Keep your relationships. And please, relationships that you have, you need to be able to categorize them. There are some people you should never ask them for anything. In terms of going to a person and saying, oh, I'm broke, I need this. Sometimes you have to keep your pride. You can be broke, but keep it to yourself. You haven't eaten, but keep it to yourself. It will reach a point, these people themselves will ask, what can I do for you? What can I do to make your life better? You get it? Sometimes we are just too quick to satisfy the current unease, and then we just spoil the relationships.
That's it for business. Up next is sports.
Thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensah, and Milovan Rajvak's appointment as the next Black Stars coach has been approved by the various stakeholders. Joy Sports understands the Serbian coach has reportedly agreed a 2-year deal with the Ghana Football Association. There is more in this report.
The Ghana FA named a 3-member committee to hunt for a successor for CK Akono after the decision of the Executive Council to part company with the former Asante Kotoko head coach last week. Joy Sports reported Milo, as he is affectionately called, was leading the race for the second stint with the senior national team, having led the country to the final of the maiden edition of CHAN in 2009, 2010 AFCON in Angola, and the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, pending approval from the Executive Council and other stakeholders. Over the weekend, consultative meetings were held where Milo was approved to succeed Akuno. We understand he will be introduced to the leadership of government before a formal announcement is made within the next 48 hours. As Joy Sports reported last week, the Serbian will sign a 2-year deal. With a monthly salary of about $45,000.
Let's move from the Black Stars to the Black Queens. They bounced back from the defeat against South Africa to beat Cameroon in the second match of the maiden Aisha Buhari Cup. Ghana defeated Cameroon 2-0 in Lagos, and head coach of the side, Mercy Kwakutego, was confident Ghana would redeem their image in the second game of the tournament.
Incidentally, both sides brought new and fresh legs into this game, trying to test the pulse and see how best everybody can fix her team. My team, for instance, like I told you the last time, South Africa being our sisters and girlfriends and whatever, they brought almost all the stars. And we all know Thembi Katlana, what she can do and what she's doing and what she will continue to do. I respect them so much because they have taken the women's football to a certain level that we all have to look at it and emulate. We are joking, believe you me, we are joking. We do this today, tomorrow we go and sleep. The next time when we are called, then we wake up and we think we will get there. When you sleep, others will wake up and do it for you to see. That's exactly what South Africa did to us. Aside of that, my full professionals that I rely on, most of them, like I said, are in season, so they could not come. You guys heard a lot of stories, but then we are in the soup, so I can tell you the truth. Most of them were busy and they could not come. The few that I had, blended with the local girls, have really proved that they can do it when they get the opportunity. And it's like all about psyche. I told them, if South Africa beat us, they are just like women as Ghanaians. So they should also tune their mind. What they were doing on the field, they could do it during the Cameroon game. And that's exactly what they do.
And that's it for sports. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sport. I am Hans Mensah Ando.
And now Becky's here with the latest in the world of showbiz. You're wearing red.
Yes.
That makes me happy.
And I'm wearing white because it's your birthday today. Happy birthday. We wish you all the best, Ernest. But let's talk about women in worship. It happened over the weekend, and there were performances from Dinah Hamilton. You know, all the women that
matter in gospel music.
Who matter in gospel music were there, and so we have highlights for you here.
Amazing performances there.
Yes.
So friends from Nigeria as well.
Yes, as well. So if you want more entertainment news, log on to myjoyonline.com, the entertainment page. That's when you get all the news.
Thank you very much, Becky, for the latest in showbiz. That's it. We have more stories for you after this. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochu Kotui, has filed an urgent question in Parliament, calling the Education Minister to explain the circumstances leading to the leakages that have occurred in the ongoing WASSCE. The leakages have led to the rescheduling of 2 papers, with some schools put on surveillance for exam malpractice. Speaking on the probe on the Joy News channel, Mr. Nochu said the Minister and WAEC must explain why the phenomenon occurred despite assurances last year they will be nipped in the bud.
I said that we will hold the Minister for Education and WAEC before Parliament. As at last Friday, I filed an urgent question that on resumption of Parliament next month, the Minister for Education must appear before the House to answer a number of questions. Now, getting to the main issue, we have been observing leakages of examination questions for some time now.
Right.
And there are, let me say, the past 3-4 years, in fact, show that it is becoming rampant and a usual or a normal or perennial issue. And why WAEC is not doing much about it, we are at a loss. I remember quite recently when we met them at the budget session, we spoke to WAEC about the leakages, and they promised us that they were putting measures in place. So come this year, there will be no leakages, that they had carried out administrative investigations. So we advise that, okay, once you make administrative investigation, number one, make the report public so that Ghanaians will know that this is the source, or these are the sources of leakages of examination questions.
You know, Joy News is learning the national security has picked up a dealer in APO or leaked questions, and the individual described by Africa Education Watch as notorious is said to have been picked up at Kaswa. Jerusalem is said to be one of the leading operators in leaked papers on Telegram. Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, is calling for a commission of inquiry to look into the annual problem. He spoke on the probe here on the Joy News channel.
I think we need a high-level commission of inquiry.
High-level commission of inquiry, okay.
A presidential-level commission of inquiry into the conduct of examinations by WAEC in the past 10 years. And then the commission of inquiry should give us directions in respect of the options forward.
Okay.
In addition to that, I think and also the commission of inquiry should be inquisitorial enough to explore and look at the various possible mediums of leakage, over the past years and all that, and make recommendations that will have implications on institutional setup, on policy, and then finally, we need to take seriously the issue of having a regulator for WAEC. Either we amend the Education Regulatory Agencies Bill and give NACA an additional mandate to regulate assessment bodies, not just WAEC, or we set up an agency to regulate WAEC. If we need to amend, or if we need to amend the convention we signed, if we need to change it, we change it. The way Nigeria changed it and demonopolized theirs, so that we have a regulator regulating WAEC for us in the interest of Ghanaians.
The Education Ministry has, however, reiterated its commitment to dealing with the canker holistically. Kwesi Kwarteng speaks for the ministry.
I don't think the conversation is only be about how we address leakages, but also more practices. Because in the exam hall, if a student takes a question and posts it on social media for solutions, certainly, that is also a more practice. Dr. Duchim is saying that within the shortest possible time, we should be looking at serialization. But then, in the long term, electronic texting is the way to go. So that, serialization will mean that you have about 20 different sets of questions for about 200 students in the same exam hall. So that, the incentive that drives about just one question being leaked, will not be there, ultimately.
From a street child to a politician, this is the story of MP for Medina Francis Xavier Susu, who was among the lots that were catered for many years ago at the Village of Hope. Over the years, the organization, made up of 3 schools, a hospital and an orphanage, has provided shelter for many children who hitherto had no hope of a bright future. At an organization to mark the 25th anniversary celebration, many people like Mr. Susu shared their stories to encourage children who are still at the center. My colleague Judith Awatritando was at the ceremony and now reports.
I say it proudly wherever I find myself that Village of Hope is the reason why I am where I am today. And I'm proud of Village of Hope, and I'll always be proud of Village of Hope.
That is Francis Xavier Susu recounting his days at the Village of Hope in Gomoa Fete. He is among many other children who were rescued from the streets and given a new life at the organization.
My mother was a slave girl because she was what we call a vojushi or a trokoshi. She escaped from the voodoo shrine as a teenager and got married to my dad, and both of them gave birth to 6 of us. I being the 3rd born, I had to just struggle my way to be able to make it. I used to sleep at the Malata market, and I would go there, sleep there, and still go to school the following day. So Village of Hope came in at the senior high school. So at the senior high school, apart from the first admission fee I paid, I was unable to pay for any more school fees for all the 3 years I was there. So they awarded me a full scholarship to go to school.
The Village of Hope has been home for many abandoned, homeless and vulnerable children since its establishment in 1996. For many years, it has offered these children a roof over their heads, quality education and a renewed hope of a brighter future. Solomon Abriyabwa was a beneficiary of the services provided at the institution. Today, he's the only craniofacial surgeon in all of West Africa.
It all started, let me say, from 1997 when my mother died. I was then in the medical school, 2nd year. And when that happened, I needed to take care of all my sisters and take care of myself as well. So it was actually a struggle. And because of that, I needed to, I actually failed and was repeated during that class. Life was still very, very difficult for me those days. And my 3rd year, I was repeated again. The Village of Hope paid my school fees from 2001 till I completed medical school.
Village of Hope is 25 years now and currently houses over 1,000 rescued children. Fred Asari is Group Managing Director.
Our vision is to establish a world-class institution that provides the best of care for needy people, especially children. And so we just don't want to provide any care. We want to provide the best. We want to provide care comparable to the care provided for needy people, especially needy children all over the world.
If I lose all things I may possess, I know that I still have Jesus.
An anniversary ceremony was organized in appreciation of the organization's achievements.
He had bid for a contract and was hoping to win it. So when he was asked to submit his bank checkbooks, he gladly did in the hope that that was the window to bid his success. But that's just the beginning of the feud with his Bongo District Assembly, now accusing them of allegedly withdrawing monies amounting to 180,000 Ghana cedis from his private business account without the consent of the account holder. The Assembly is said to have first deposited the money in the account under the pretext of awarding a contract to the company, then went to withdraw it later. The full story is captured in the special investigative work by Manasseh Zuriawini.
When the CEO of Apogan KA Enterprise, Asumbekere Karim Anabla, got a notification that 31,000 cedis had been withdrawn in cash from his bank account, he was alarmed. But what alarmed him more was the name that came with the alert, David Aruk. David Aruk is the engineer and head of works department at the Bongo District Assembly, and Karim said he had not permitted him to withdraw any money from his account. Roxanne Akugre is the lawyer Karim contacted to officially seek answers from the bank and the district assembly.
We got instructions from our client in the nature of an award, a purportedly awarded contract to him. He's not aware that that contract has been awarded to him. He only got to know about it, but what prompted him to make enquiries was a text message he received on his phone indicating that some amount of money had been withdrawn from his account, business account with Maltaba Rural Bank in Bongo. So that alerted him to make enquiries, and he got to know that a contract was purportedly awarded to him to drill, construct, test, and do hand pump installation in some location unknown to him. And the district chief executive, Peter Ayimbesa, was the person who signed the letter awarding the contract to him. And the money was paid into the account without his knowledge, and it was withdrawn without his knowledge.
Went to the Bongo Community Bank, Maltaba, and asked the manager. The manager told me that there was some contracts awarded to my company at Bongo Assembly. So they paid the money, and then they came and wrote the money. The Bongo coordinating director called me, Sawla Kanyanga, and pleaded with me that it was a mistake that they have used my documents. Then I told him that when you are using my documents, did you tell me anything? That's no.
On June 14, 2021, an amount of 156,000 cedis entered and disappeared from Karim's account at the Maltaba Community Bank in Bongo under murkier circumstances than the first withdrawal from the same bank. This time, Karim did not get a notification. He suspected the bank had intentionally deactivated the alert to him.
The first one, I got the transaction on my phone, but the second one, they disconnect me on the transaction. So I went and complained to them, and they told me there's a problem, and then my number have deleted to their system. So I should give them the number to connect me again. So I gave them the number 26th June. So they connect me on the transaction 26th June again.
The chairman and two members of the board of the bank told me a technical problem resulted in the deactivation of notification to Karim. When Karim requested a statement of accounts from the bank, it did not indicate who withdrew the money. The narration that went with the withdrawal of the 156,000 was miscellaneous debits. The DC of Bongo, Peter Ayimbesa Ayamga, said the assembly could not have gone to withdraw any money from the contractor's account.
So I was surprised that they said that assembly went back and made same withdrawal. As I said, I'm not aware that assembly went back to make withdrawal. Assembly cannot go to make withdrawal because the project does not belong to assembly. The monies were paid in the names of the company. So how could assembly, that is not the company, go back to the bank to make withdrawals? In any case, assembly doesn't issue checks like previously. We pay through the GIFMIS platform. So when we pay, it goes through Bank of Ghana, and they do the transfer of same money to the contractor's bank. And it went to the bank. So how could we go back into the GIFMIS platform and make withdrawals of same? In the first place, we are not the contractors.
Despite this assertion, his head of works, David Aruk, admitted he withdrew the first amount, but claimed he did not know what he was doing.
In fact, I don't even know how to start. I was called at the bank that we have good working relationship, this and that I should come. When I got there, Baba was sitting with the bank manager.
Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Abnadapa, has urged the newly inaugurated board of directors for the Ghana Water Company to ensure that the debt incurred by the company is properly managed in accordance with the Public Financial Management Act. Speaking at the inauguration of the board, she explained the board, among other duties, is to ensure the protection of the public purse.
We are all aware of the enormous responsibilities placed on you individually and as a group to help steer the affairs of the company. We should all be mindful also of the legal status of the Ghana Water Company Limited that has evolved over the years from a corporation to one of the most important companies in the country. We should also take into consideration the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921. This also places enormous responsibility on people in charge of public funds. I urge you to seriously consider the judicious use of resources and also protect the public purse to ensure that the debt situation of the company is managed within acceptable limits. Revered appointed directors for today, you are to hold your meetings every quarter. There's also the annual training for directors of boards, which I hear is mandatory, which you all must find time to participate.
The newly inaugurated board chairman, Patrick Yabuama, assured in turn the minister that he will work hand in hand with his colleagues to work within the budget allocated to the company.
The board of directors and the management, like you rightly said, there are various responsibilities assigned to directors of the company as enshrined in the new Companies Act and also the Public Financial Management Act. Honourable Minister, it has come at a time that a company that has over 4,000 employees with over 90 plants nationwide still depends so much on government to survive. And I believe that we must move the company in a certain direction where they can be able to do a lot of things on the back of their own balance sheets. Honourable Minister, you rightly said that we need to chart a new path to put the company as a world-class utilities company, like it happens everywhere in the world. And I believe that Ghana Water Company has the capacity, has the resources to be able to move towards that direction.
And that's how we end Joy News Prime today. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Mino.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Up close on Reason is Jesus. My name is P.P. Fulton, the Christocentrica.